So the divine energy is the goddess energy inside. It's what binds you to the earth, listening, absorbing, and nurturing. She is basically just so present in the moment and things come to her. And the more calm and present you are in the moment, the more that inner feminine intuition is going to speak louder to you. Hey guys, welcome to Self-Care Sundays with Sophia, where we talk about self-love, self-growth, and everything in between. Today's video, we're going to be talking all about the divine feminine, how to connect with your intuition, and basically just use the most of your woman power. So I love talking about femininity. I love tapping into my femininity, and the divine feminine is something I've been kind of researching more. Basically, it's essentially just your connection to the earth and really focusing on your intuition in order to guide you through life. Now, this is something that only women have. We are basically a portal. Well, not basically, we are a portal to give new life to this earth. And it's actually down to a science that we have the mother's instinct, and our intuition is much stronger because in survival modes, we needed that sixth sense to make sure our children were safe. So it's actually wired in our DNA to be a lot more in tune with our senses and more aware of our bodies and being able to predict things and being able to guide life more because we are mothers. So the divine energy is the goddess energy inside. It's what binds you to the earth. And if you are like me and you feel just extremely grounded when you're in nature and you feel like you're home, that tells me that you're in your divine feminine energy. Elevated intuition and increased sensitivity are the main signs for your divine feminine energy awakening. So if you are very much an empath and you feel what others feel and you're very compassionate, you always can step into a room and you can kind of sense it and feel it out. That tells me that you are in your divine feminine energy and you're on the right track. And a way that you can kind of charge this energy is, like I said, going in nature, putting your bare feet in the grass is so grounding. And sitting under a tree, doing your meditations and journaling and just getting the vitamin D from the sun. It's summertime right now. You can see I've got a huge tan. I've been doing lots of picnics. So I feel like I'm really activating that goddess energy, and I just got my hair done, so I'm also feeling very fresh. And today I wore a cute outfit. I took some photos. I did what makes me happy. I've been exercising a lot. The last few days I've been cooking every single meal and just making very special dishes for myself. My place is clean. I'm essentially just mothering myself. So I feel like I've really activated that divine feminine energy from all of the time outside and just being super grounded. I've also cut out alcohol the last few weeks, and I'm now just definitely feeling 100% back to normal. And this is kind of this is sort of off topic, but not really, but something I noticed anytime there's self-improvement videos or anything self-helpish, people always want us, or the gurus always want us to say, I am healing. And like when you're in therapy, you're healing your traumas, you're healing. In my meditation, had a moment where I'm like, why can't I be thriving? Why do I always have to be healing? Because that implies that I'm damaged and I need to fix myself. So I started adding into my affirmations that I am thriving. I am aging backwards. I'm thriving. Like I'm growing, basically. I'm not fixing what's broken. I'm growing and building and thriving and living my best life. There's only room for improvement for the wavelength that I've been on, and I've really been protecting my energy, not seeing too many people or only hanging out with people that make me feel good. And another thing about femininity as well is just not talking to or speaking to any man that has ever from your past maybe made you feel a little bit less than, or that you have to try hard, or they just I don't know, I'm thinking of somebody, and it's not even somebody that I used to date, but somebody who just used to give me this kind of weird judgmental energy. And I spoke with him, this was a couple weeks ago now, but we had a FaceTime catch up, and I just felt this urge to, I still had this habit to like kind of want his approval almost, which is so not in my new current identity. Maybe back then when we were friends, I weirdly subconsciously wanted this man's approval, even though we didn't date or anything. He just had this kind of better than or shameful energy. That is a wounded masculine for sure, and that doesn't align with my new persona of this healed divine feminine energy. So it wasn't really aligning. And I think in life, it's not even to say like, you know, it was nice to catch up with him, no hard feelings there. It's just a dynamic that I kind of built for myself. Like, again, it's all about perception, and I brought myself there. Who knows if he really even was doing that? I mean, I'm sure part of it was, but human nature is you teach people how to treat you. So you need to make sure to always teach people to treat you with respect and to only give good energy. Otherwise, you'll be out of there. Some other things I want to speak about is some of the qualities that you have when you're practicing your divine feminine energy. This energy stems from a place of receiving and allowing and observing, softness, being, listening, absorbing, and nurturing. She is basically just so present in the moment, and things come to her. She's not out there doing the most, trying to, like I was saying in that example before, trying to impress others, trying to put her energy out. She does not chase, she attracts. So things come to her. Again, it's also rewiring and teaching people how to treat you. I kind of had an example of this, just sort of training myself. Okay, I was thinking about this guy and I wanted to text him kind of, but I stopped myself because I think the old me impulsively would have wanted to text this guy. But the new me is, I don't need to break a period of silence by texting first. I'd rather him message me first. Just retraining myself even how to really practice my true feminine tendencies. Another trait about a woman who is in her true divine feminine energy is she is just so allowing, and she embodies just full acceptance of everybody. She's no longer trying to fix. She's just letting things be, and she's not trying to fix herself or fix others. She's just in the present moment as it is, loving and accepting it for that moment. Even if it's not necessarily positive, she's just accepting that this is our reality right now and this is okay. I think I said this in my last YouTube video, but I've been watching a lot of Bob Proctor lately, and a quote that he said that I just really, really loved is, decide the life that you want and say no to everything that isn't that. So the example before about having that urge to text this guy who I hadn't talked to in a while, no, I want to be 100% pursued by all men, period. Even though that guy is not the one for me, I still just want to be in a vibration where men are always coming to me. I don't chase, I attract on all forms. So me and my highest feminine self does not text some guy out of the blue. They text me out of the blue. And if I respond if I feel the need, if not, maybe I don't. So the life that I want is to be in my true feminine energy. So would this version of Sophia act this certain way? No, she wouldn't. So I have to say no to that. So I love that Bob Proctor quote because it's actually so simple if you really think of it. Even for the example, if you have this vision of this type of life that you want, let's say you just want to enter your classy woman era, you don't want to feel young and playful anymore, just embody certain things that this classy woman would do and say no to maybe the immature young things that that old version of you would do. So it's just being aware of all of your daily choices, because all of the small choices make up the big things. That's why being present and being able to listen to your intuition is so extremely important when you want to live a good life, because you have to be able to kind of dissect every other thought and be able to think, is this serving my best life possible? not having a million things running at once, like having a million tabs open on your computer and not being able to actually focus on one thing at a time. The goal is to just have as quiet of a life as possible in your mind. And I understand that's not always possible if you have kids or you're married or you have a very high stress job, but any moments that you can have for yourself, even if it's that 20 minutes before bed or 10 minutes in the morning before you have to start the day, if you can at least take that time for yourself to be completely quiet and just listen to yourself, be aware that this is your body, but there's also something in there that's making these choices and observing the thoughts that you think. So it's like there's two of you. There's you here in the conscious present moment, and then there's something also observing that. Because when you're having thoughts, you're kind of like having a conversation with yourself. So who is that observer? So really getting in the habit of being extremely quiet and aware that you don't need to run a million miles a minute. Slow and steady wins the race. And the more calm and present you are in the moment, the more that inner feminine intuition is going to speak louder to you. That's why, for example, Christians say you need to pray, trust in God. God will speak to you. God will give you the messages. That's your intuition. So really just being completely quiet and not distracted from outside stimuli. Being in your divine feminine energy means connected to your body, mind, and spirit. So again, getting out in nature, putting your feet on the grass, and meditating, feeling the sun on you are really, really powerful tools to get into your divine feminine energy. The ultimate way to embrace your divine feminine energy 100% is self-love. Anything you need to do to feel loved and feel confident, and just going back to there's a body, there's a person thinking, and there's something observing those thoughts. You are kind of like a unit. So if you could have that one observer who's listening to the thoughts, tell yourself positive, loving affirmations, if that makes sense, it'll feel like more of a unit. Again, comparing to Christianity, it's like God is with you every second of the way, whether you're religious or you're not. There's always a higher power, intuition force with you, whether that's you, but on a different frequency or in a different dimension. You are ultimately your biggest cheerleader, and whatever feels comfortable to you is what you're going to do. So you need to get into a habit of affirming, loving thoughts to yourself and just being confident, because you are special. And even if you don't like yourself right now, I promise you, you can convince yourself to think that you're the most amazing person on the planet. It just takes repetition. Repetition dissolves disbelief. So affirming to yourself on a daily basis and convincing yourself, even if you don't believe it at first, the more times you say it, you're going to eventually believe it. And being as quiet as possible, cutting out alcohol or anything that's too stimulating, that's not going to put you in the present moment. It's absolutely poison. And alcohol is definitely not something that would trigger your feminine energy. Yes, everybody likes to have a glass of wine here and there, but if you're finding that it's keeping you off balance that much, it might be a good idea to take a bit of a break to really get focused so that you can be in your highest version of yourself. And hang out with people that make you feel feminine. If you have a friend and she's a little bit more rough around the edges, she swears, she doesn't really care to take care of her appearance, she doesn't like to practice any self-love activities, maybe she smokes. I'm just picturing some like raggedy person, I don't know. But the bottom line is, or even guy friends, if they make you feel truly beautiful and in your feminine energy, those are the types of people that you want to hang out with, because seeing people that used to be in your life and that triggering you to act the way that your previous version of yourself acted around them, it's very hard to start new patterns and to retrain, because even this person, I hadn't seen them in like 4 years, or they weren't in my everyday life and since like 4 years ago. And when we were doing the FaceTime catch up, I found myself going right back into the habit of acting just a little bit more kind of desperate and just trying too hard to get their approval. And that's not who I am today. But it's so easy to fall back into habits with people. That's why when you're going through a spiritual awakening of some form, don't be surprised if you want to spend a lot of alone time. And that's what you actually should be doing. If you're going through a transformation and things are very uncomfortable, the more alone time, the better, because you can make that time to decide, who do I want to be? What feels true to me? Instead of just following the crowd or acting the way you've always acted, because obviously that's not working for you. It's time for growth. It's time to thrive and change. So hanging out with old friends that trigger the old version of you, it's not to say that they're bad people. They might be amazing friends and a great friend, but you for some reason have had this habit of acting a certain way with them, and it's really hard for you personally to retrain yourself to act different around them. Even maybe they're the most accepting person ever and they're cool with noticing a shift in your behavior, but it's half of the time, more than half, like 90% of the time, it's you feel that habit and you start acting in your old pattern ways. That's why, for example, like addicts, they obviously can't go and hang out with the people that they used to use with, because that's just what they always did. And that mentality is what they had in common. And that was the familiar. The mind and the body, the human body and mind craves repetition and routine. So anything that you've done forever, it's kind of like a survival mechanism. You've done this all this time and it's always worked. So of course you're going to go back to those old habits. So in order to reprogram yourself and wake up the divine feminine, you have to spend a lot of alone time and say a lot of loving things to yourself. Make sure that your self-talk is on point and you're telling yourself every day that you are beautiful, you are special, you are loved, and you are worthy of living and having the most. And you don't have to say, I am healing. No, I am thriving. I am the most beautiful I've ever been. I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm the richest I've ever been. I'm the happiest I've ever been. I'm romanced every single day, and I deserve to live a good life. Okay, I think I'm going to wrap up this video, but I hope you enjoyed today's topic, and I hope I inspired you to tap into your naturalistic, divine feminine energy. I'm Sophia Pearson. You can find me on all my social medias at Sophia Pearson. We'll see you guys next week on Self-Care Sundays with Sophia. Bye!